Hello everyone, this is Leila Terabella from Ministry of Recovery. Bonjour, comment ça va? If it's in French, I will try to see whether I can actually command other languages. Okay, so today's session, what I want to share with you in terms of Ministry of Recovery is the 8 domains of recovery. You may see sometimes 8 domains of wellness, 8 domains of happiness. So more or less it's about the same. Some would have 9, some would have 10, but for Ministry of Recovery, we're focusing on 8 domains of recovery. So what does these 8 domains of recovery include? This would include like emotional, financial, social, spiritual. Now, please don't get me wrong, spiritual is not like magic or things like that. People are still a little bit skeptical about the word spiritual. And we go into occupational, and we go into physical, intellectual, as well as environmental. So, if I were to go through every single one of it, I would definitely bore you because you know what does each and every single one of it means. In a nutshell, if an individual can achieve 100% of every single domain which I've just shared with you, I doubt they need recovery. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, when you talk about the first domain of recovery, now this is in no sequence. Yeah, it could be physical first, spiritual first, but let's touch on emotional first. Now, basically, it is about coping effectively with your life and creating a satisfying relationship. Now, we all know the ideal relationship building is when everybody understands each other. Ideal, but that's not the case most of the time. Even though how simple person you are, sometimes it is much more complex if you look at it. So how do we actually achieve emotional stability? Even if you say that, oh, I'm emotionally stable, I have my family support, strong pillars and things like that, it could be 100%. I'm not denying the fact that you could achieve 100% of the domain where emotional is concerned. Could you also achieve in terms of financial stability as well? Could you also achieve 100% of social achievement as well? Now, we are living in an environment where it's not just our natural family. There's the environmental factor. If you're working, there's an external factor. How could you achieve stability at work? That actually falls under one of the domain, which is occupational. How can you use any platform at work to truly express yourself? That didn't happen most of the time, did it? If it would, then you would have stayed in the company that you are working. So how do we actually get balance for all the 8 domains of recovery? This is where the Ministry of Recovery try to achieve in giving all of such platforms. For instance, if you talk about social domain, we'll try to ensure that we have enough social activities, social interactions, networking, not just between phoenixes. This is where the inclusion and diversity comes in. Remember I shared much earlier? This is where we get the phoenix, the philanthropists, the investors, the partners, the volunteers, the family members just group together, network. You never know what comes out of it. When certain things has been achieved, you could be much, much closer to that 100% of achieving that particular domain. What about financial? Are you financially stable? That is the usual term that they will use. But what we see here is how financially stable would you be in 3 years, in 5 years? It's not just about working today to feed your family today. It's how can you do something yesterday to ensure that tomorrow is sustainable in whatever that you do. So what about intellectual domain? Is it just something that looks at your creative juices? How can you apply your creativity? Something that innate. Creativity could be if you're an artist, if you're a painter, if you're a photographer. How can you fully achieve your passion, your satisfaction intellectually to achieve 100% of what you are? What we do here in Ministry of Recovery, we allow you to have such platforms to really explore, express, and do it. Through competitions. We have photography competitions coming up. We have arts competition coming up. Now, what does art and photography and fishing, has got anything to do with recovery? It has got to do everything with recovery. Because why? It allows you to achieve whatever passion that you have where creativity is concerned. Now, let's go with spiritual. I know, again, like I said, this is not about voodoo, black magic, and things like that, which most people are still. I wouldn't use the word ignorant, but there you go. Spiritual is how can you balance yourself, perhaps through yoga. How can you expand your sense and the meaning and purpose in life? What do you do? There's a lot of things that captures what spiritualism is all about. Perhaps yoga, perhaps listening to music which is therapeutic. It's got nothing to do with religion. It has got a lot of things to do with that purpose in your life. To know more about all these 8 domains and how the Ministry of Recovery can allow such platforms along with our partners to give you that platform. Call us today. This is Bella. Bye-bye.